I am chatting with Holly Bird today, who teaches printmaking classes at the Dunedin Fine Arts Center. So Holly, can you tell us what is printmaking and can you show us some examples?
Yeah, printmaking is a something that it's very old. It's the Chinese invented it, and but it's something that other artists have done in conjunction with their art form, mainly painting. And simply, it's a way to make copies of your artwork and sell them. Albert Dürer was his business model was the best. It was slamming back then, in his century. And since then, there are many painters who've adopted printmaking over time to simply create reproductions of their work, actual art prints, and in order to extend the ability to bring income in. And also it exists on its own entirely as its own art form. So there's kind of a dual purpose to printmaking. Printmaking as we teach it here at the Art Center, we do right now, I teach traditional printmaking in terms of relief printmaking, which could be woodcut or linoleum block cut. I'll show you a couple examples of something I'm working on right now. I'm carving a linoleum block. This is a mounted linoleum. It's on a piece of wood. You can see all the little cut marks. It's something that's in progress. The proof I just made looks like this. Yeah, this is correct. This is just a simple contact relief. The relief means it's raised. You go ahead and ink up the block. You put a piece of paper on it, and either pressure by hand, with a baren, with a press, you basically transfer the image over to the paper from a block. That can be also done with wood. That can be done with linoleum. It's the most accessible, printmaking class that we have, and anybody can walk in the door and make a great print. I really think printmaking relief is an all-access art form. You don't have to have any previous even art experience. Really, you can walk in the door of my class. I teach beginners, complete beginners, all the way up through advanced people who are doing it professionally to sell. So it could go from something as simple as a one color, one-off print, and or something like, this is what I do. Here's a black and white version of a more detailed carving. And then by adding more blocks and extra color, I do work like this. My students do work like this. This is a multiple color print. This is done with multiple carved blocks. Another version we teach that's a little more sophisticated also is reduction, where all the colors on this woodcut come from one or two blocks of wood. So rather than carving 6 or 7 blocks, you might just have one block of wood and nothing is left when you're done. We teach, that's called reduction. The previous one I showed you was multiple block. We can do single block. You can do nothing more than carve a single block of linoleum and use it to make tea towels and t-shirts and Christmas cards. There's really, the sky's the limit with relief printmaking. And like I say, you can come in here and not know how to draw. I emphasize design. You're going to get my big graphic design nerd, 101 in my class. No matter, it doesn't matter. You're stuck. And I guarantee you, anybody walking in that class is going to come out with a really great image. And I'll tell you one thing, relief printmaking is so great as a confidence booster, because anybody can walk in the door and you think you can't do art, and I will tell you you're wrong, because when you pull that first print up, I'll tell you, every single student I have goes, wow. It's relief printmaking is always better than you think it's going to be, because it's its own thing. It sort of lends itself a certain style that's really fun and warm and can be any level of sophistication you want. So that is my Tuesday linoleum class. Like I said, from beginner to advanced, I teach all levels at the same time. Friday mornings is something a little different. So etching, I teach copper plate etching. Everybody starts out with a smaller plate than this. This is an 8x10. I'm making it all glittery here like a copper coin because it's cool. This particular here, this plate makes an etching like this. And this is just simply, it's one color. I'm trying to get that up there where you can see it a little bit.
There you go.
This also uses aqua tint. We have an aqua tint box, which is a little bit more advanced, but everybody's taught how to use it to go ahead and add tonal values to it. We deal with texture in soft ground. There's all kinds of fun techniques. That class is a bit more advanced. What I do require is that anybody coming in there should at least have an art class or two under your belt and some ability to draw. You don't have to be a great draftsman. You don't have to draw particularly well, but you've got to be able to put a mark on the plate and have, and we'll build your confidence up, because I'll tell you, one of the things about copper is it's very forgiving. It's not a one-shot deal. You can go back in, you can fix stuff, you can erase things. It's a really great, really interesting art form. And again, you can make, it's a draftsman's dream, because you can make multiples of that, up to 100 on a plate of copper. We'll start you off with a small piece of copper, like a 3x5 or a 4x5, and you can work your way up if you want to continue on and get more advanced. But I guarantee you're going to walk out of our 6-week session with at least 1 or 2 finished prints, and you're going to know a lot about the process. But you've got to love the process. We teach a pretty green classroom in there. We use minimal solvent. We're using ferric chloride as our etchant, not nitric acid. So I have a lot of people, including me, that did etching back in the old days in college when we had boiling vats of nitric acid, which was very uncool. And
Wow.
so we don't do that anymore. We have ferric chloride is very safe, no fumes. It's just a really aggressive salt. That's all there is to it. Very safe, again, minimal solvent. We use things like vegetable oil and simple green to clean up. But again, Friday mornings etching, and it is just one of those classes where I need to have people with a little bit of experience in art, but you don't have to have any experience in printmaking at all. You can walk in the door with etching and just have a little bit of drawing ability under your belt and some art classes, and you're golden. It'll be great.
And do you have to bring anything? Do you have to bring tools, or we have the tools here?
Actually, we have the tools. Let me show you some of the tools here. For my relief class, all I ask you guys to do is basically bring some basic drawing, pen, pencil, tracing paper, and apron, because it's a super messy class. My requirements are really, really minimal. Things to draw with, a pad of tracing paper, maybe some rulers, but I'm going to provide all your tools, at least in the beginning. So all of my relief classes get their own kit to borrow. They can take this home to work on during their 6 weeks. This is a flex cut printmaking kit. It has a set of palm tools, and I have handouts that'll teach you about more, different kinds of tools if you want to go ahead and invest. But I start you out with a really great set that's fine. I mean, you could do nothing, but you could work professionally with a tool set like this. It runs about $50. I'm going to lend you your own for those 6 weeks. If you want to work further, you can get your own, but nobody has to come in the door with tools. I want everybody on a level playing field with some good intro, intermediate tools, so that you don't have to invest in anything. Etching, I have tools to lend out, burnisher, we have scrapers, and we have scribers for these. These are all sold at Blick. The only thing you really probably need down the road, because I might not have enough for everybody, is an $8 scribing tool. But only after you take the class for a couple weeks, make sure that you know how to use it. And then I might encourage somebody to go get an $8 scriber or $10, but that's it. All these tools, otherwise, we have loaners everywhere. And I make sure that I cover your ink, your paper, and then I also teach you about inks and paper. Say you want to try some other things, you can go purchase that stuff on your own. But anybody walking the door of my printmaking classes needs nothing more than a way to keep your clothes clean and some drawing stuff, and that's pretty much it. Also, to bring in a sketch when you walk in the door. I want you to hit the ground running, and I also specify a size sketch or two to bring in, so that you can have, you're not sitting there trying to come up with an idea. I want you to really get rolling and walk out that door with a print. So we hit the ground running on the first day of class. Yeah. The press that we have, just to talk about that for a minute, we have probably the largest publicly accessible etching press in the area, 36-inch press that was built by our founder, Steve Littlefield, and his friend. And they built 6 presses. We've had the one in the program for 25 years. This thing is a beast. It's a wonderful old press. It makes great etchings, and we also use it for leaf printing and for monotype and any number of other things. There are 5 sister presses actually in the area. One's at HCC and one's at SPC. So great old venerable press. We actually have 2. We have a smaller 19-inch press, a more modern one. So we have 2 going on at the same time for different projects in there. So plenty of space in there for students to work, and you're not on top of each other, and plenty of room for inking. Mm-hmm. So we're well suited. However, our classes stay fairly small. 6 to 8 is about the maximum we put in that room, because we want your experience to be a good experience. We want everybody to have, I want you to have my one-on-one help, because there's a lot of process involved, but also we want you to be able to have the space to work and have access to the press when you need it, and the inking table and everything else in there. So we try to make it a really fun, informal, really relaxing environment for everybody. Play a little music, hang out. The people in there tend to come back. I have a lot of regulars. Some of them go on to form their own print studios. I've had probably half a dozen students have gone out to purchase their own press after taking my class, and they still show up, and which is the same way that I became sort of a hanger-on. I eventually got my own press, but I still came to classes at DFAC to take printmaking for years and years and years before I started teaching. And I actually started formally teaching printmaking there about 4 years ago, and I took over from founder Steve Littlefield. And I've been teaching in the area for, I taught a short stint at DFAC back in the mid 2000s, pen and ink and watercolor, about the same time I was teaching graphic design at USF. So I've got a number of years teaching under my belt here with both, formally in a university environment, with DFAC also, which is my favorite form of teaching. No grading, no pressure, no grading, and fun for everybody. And I have some of the people come to that Friday morning etching class have been coming for 25 years because it's very chill and very relaxing. And they say it's their favorite time of the week.
Yeah, a lot of students I've heard talk about the community here, and they really love coming every week to see their fellow students and their instructors. Have you noticed any other benefits of coming to classes once a week?
Well, I mean, absolutely. It's I think that printmaking, one of the things that strikes me about printmaking is that if you're a hesitant artist, you lack confidence. I really think that printmaking is something to maybe even just dip your toes in the water. Maybe you don't want to do a lot of printing like forever, but you just want to give it a try. Printmaking makes everybody a better artist than you think you are, because that aha moment of discovery is really pretty unique to printmaking. There is a bit of a process, and I know people, and I'm one of them, you walk and they're like, I'm terrible, I'm the worst artist in the world. But me, my students, everybody, you pull it up, you go, wow. I mean, that is unexpectedly good, and it's because printmaking, like I said, it takes the skills that you bring to it, and it just adds something really, really interesting and unique by the very nature of printmaking, in making a mark on the block, making a mark on the plate. The tools make some decisions for you, and it kind of takes it out of your hands. And then when you start playing around with texture and ink and everything like that, you pull that print for the first time, you go like, that's pretty cool. And so I think it's as a sort of thing to shake things up in the same way that I've taken clay classes every once in a while to shake my world up in 3D. And because I'm such a 2D artist, I think printmaking is something that would be very interesting for a lot of artists to come in and do. And either pursue it as its own discipline, or just something to try, something a little different. And I think it's a big confidence builder. It's also, you really get in the groove of the process. It is something that's very relaxing. It's something that's almost meditative. We're always about sort of the vibe in the class, and everybody's helping each other out, but everybody seems to really kind of get into the process, and it's a way to shut the world out and just focus on something completely, and to the best of your abilities. And we're really very fortunate to have a number of excellent printmakers who've been doing this for a while. We all help each other. They come from multiple disciplines as painters and draftspeople and designers and whatnot. And people whose backgrounds are in, say, interior design, so they come in and they do Friday morning etching, and they've been doing it for years, because it's just something that takes them out of their day to day, and is really fun and relaxing.
Yeah, well, that's great. Well, Holly, thank you for taking some time to talk to me today about your classes and about printmaking. For folks that are interested in signing up, we have a link below this video. You can see Holly's classes and her workshop descriptions, and you can sign up. So again, thank you, Holly.
Thank you very much. You're welcome. Appreciate it. All right.